Really?
Okay,
Live?
I think so. You
Really?
can
You
see
live?
you can see on the link I sent you.
Yes, I see it.
You
I have
can keep it
to
in a
not
different
watch
window.
myself because this is gonna be.
Okay, welcome everyone. Two spectators, not too bad. Um, but yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. It's gonna go on YouTube as well. But I thought it was nice to have it live so people can ask questions in case. And hello.
Okay.
So I'm here with Alek Erickson.
Hello.
Hello. This is gonna be a sort of informal chat, podcast style. I don't know. I just got into podcasts now, so I like to say that. But yeah, whatever it is. Talking about abstract games, of course, and in particular Tumbleweed, which is a favorite of yours, I think.
Yeah,
But
basically my favorite abstract game at this point.
okay, yeah, maybe you surprise me and say no, I want to play just chess now, but no, fine, okay. And yeah, and I think Tumbleweed is quite an interesting one because as I was saying before the streaming, um, it was designed 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, actually,
2020.
2020 during quarantine, and I just want to, before any discussion, you know, give full, make sure everyone is aware of the brilliance of Michał Zapawa, the designer of this
True,
game.
true. Yeah, I was gonna mention it. Yeah, of
Polish
course.
Polish mathematician, scout leader, student, game designer, Miha. He's really amazing. So and we met just over the Board Game Geek abstract game forums,
Hmm.
and yeah, when he showed me Tumbleweed, I was just basically blown away and wanted to just wanted to play it.
So he has designed other games as well, right?
Yeah, he's designed a bunch of really good games. Like all of the game designers on this forum have a lot of games under their belt, mostly.
Hmm.
And most most games are okay. Some are pretty bad. Actually, most are really bad. And then some games are okay, and then just a few are just brilliant.
Okay. It's a good description, and that leads to the question why Tumbleweed is one of the exceptional ones,
You know, I
if you can
spent a lot
describe
of
it.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
a
I've spent so
feeling.
much time thinking about why some games can be are good, especially in the abstract field. And I mean, I think it's worth just talking about why we like abstracts in the first place. Because I think that that why we gravitate to this subgenre in the first place
Hmm.
is part of the reason why we can think about why certain abstracts are so good.
Hmm.
Like I mean, I'm in it for like the first of all like a deep strategic and tactical contest of the minds, with obviously no luck, no randomness, and no hidden
Okay.
information, where everything's all on the board, and you can just see everything's basically within the realm of possibility. What's going to happen? You could
Hmm.
in theory calculate it, but of course you can't because
It's.
human and you are not good enough. Nobody's good enough to calculate everything.
Hmm.
So like operating against our own uh, limitations as people. So yeah, and I feel like some games bring that whole contest out more um, and and I think embedded within that idea of you want to have a really deep contest, a deep strategic contest, there is there's certain kind of corollaries with this. Like you want to be able to read ahead a game. The
Hmm.
reason why games like chess and Go are so successful. Um, I mean, when you like, I know that hindsight is kind of 2020.
Hmm.
But when you're thinking about why some games are so good, I think part of it has to do with the fact that it's very easy to read ahead and learn more with repeated practice. Like the more you play the game, the more you learn, the more different patterns you recognize, and that more this kind of information burns itself into your brain
Hmm.
and allows you to grasp it. So
But
these kind of
but if I can, sorry, if I can be the uh, devil advocate,
Mhm.
I just thinking that this is can be true also for other games where there is probability, for example, involved, right? In that case, that there is I will from my perspective an extra step of difficulty because you need to calculate also something that is not just in front of your eyes, right? The more possibilities coming up.
Yes, more
But
possibilities. Like that's the one thing that randomness actually takes away from the strategic battle. Okay, look, I'm not against like risk management games and like poker. I love poker. It's one of my favorite games. But and backgammon is wonderful. But when I talk about the addition of like a luck factor or a randomizer into the game, what that does is that makes the game tree so much bigger. Because then, if you think about it, like every time you roll the dice, and like based on the roll of dice, it's like one of six possibilities could happen,
mhm,
and that means that like you take an action, and then chance takes an action, splits the game tree into like six
yeah,
times bigger nodes for every node that you're in. And what that does is it reduces the level of absolute readability in a game, and therefore brings because what you want,
okay.
what I believe is what you want is a very readable game where a person can actually read like sequence of 15 moves ahead, calculate locally. Okay, here this will turn out good for me. Um, and sometimes like you just bring the that grasp on a game so far out of human reach by adding certain mechanics in like randomness that it makes the game less deep because no human will ever kind of get
I know
I don't
this
know
is
if that's I don't know if I'm
no
saying bullshit, but
no. It's just this is a rabbit hole. Like if we start talking about this, it's very it's very complicated. And what I don't know if it's the same thing that I mean, but um, you would say basically the reduced clarity of the game, right? Like
yeah,
it makes it more blurry.
yeah,
And I think I read recently a debate about what is clarity, right? There was a thread in Board Game Geek, and I think
yeah.
it becomes complicated to define what. I know there is also an article on Absurd Games magazine
Right,
about
this
what.
clear, but I don't really totally agree with that because what the guy's saying, it's Christian Freeling. By the way, Christian Freeling has been a huge inspiration to me when I was like first learning about abstract games. I went to Christian Freeling's website mindsports.nl,
Mhm.
and by the way, Tumbleweed is implemented at
Ah,
mindsports.nl,
it's there as well.
and
Okay, cool.
they were one of the Ed and Christian at Mindsports were one of the first people to implement Tumbleweed, and that was like we didn't really. I mean, I didn't really play it there very much, but I'm really happy that they implemented it. Kind of what is one of the early instances of giving Tumbleweed a position online in
Mm.
alongside the great games of history, because
Mhm.
Mindsports has everything. They've got all of the classics plus just a lot of Christian Freeling games.
Mhm.
He wrote about clarity recently in this essay you're referring to, and what his major thesis was that clarity is familiarity, which is like tautology. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Like the more familiar you are with a game, then
Mm.
of course it'll be more clear to you. But there is game intrinsic familiarity, sorry, game intrinsic
Clarity.
clarity
Mhm. But
that can be
it's just
independent of the
hard to
player.
measure, right? It's just hard to measure, right? Like you should
I think
take
it's
like
not so difficult to be, for instance, like let's just think about it. If you have many different colors in a like maybe one player controls red, blue, and white, and the
that's
other
less
player
clear.
controls green, black, and yellow or whatever. Like this is
Yeah.
just obviously unclear. If you're playing on five different boards at once, it's just unclear. If you have like 7 moves per turn, it's just
Yeah.
unclear.
So more simple is more clear,
Yes,
or
I
right?
really love games with 1 action per turn, 1 color per player,
Okay, I agree on
and
that.
hopefully, yeah. And also for me, I really love 1 type of piece, which I guess differentiates me from like the Hive players in the room and the chess players. I love chess, by the way, and I haven't played much Hive, sadly, although I would be open to trying out the game. But
Uh,
its lack of its differentiated
uh,
pieces kind of makes it
yeah,
difficult for me to like
yeah.
get really excited about.
I think from a design perspective is a bit weird to have different type of pieces, um, because you can potentially increase the type of pieces without any limit, right? Like, so you can make any sort of different game just having different kind of pieces and more different ones, and it doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily bring you to a better game in the end, right?
right. And to me, like when you have different pieces that do different things, the question is always like, why? Like it always kind of begs the question, why was it designed this way? And in the game of chess, um, there was a very long-standing natural evolutionary process that resulted in the final product of international chess. And that I can't really argue with chess because it's so wildly successful. And in the case of like chess variants, I get way less excited because it's people who are taking this fully evolved formula and then just tweaking it a little bit. And I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
or tweaking a lot sometimes for the sake of
right.
it.
Right. In
And
the case of Hive, it feels like it's a substantially different game. It's not a chess variant. It's like its own thing with the modular board and the different like
uh,
uh,
thank you. I
I don't
can't
know much.
say anything against Hive. So,
Oh no.
um, but actually, what I like about Tumbleweed as well. Now we can talk about the rules. The rules are very simple, like are extremely simple, right? Uh,
Yes.
it's literally you can place a height, sorry, a stack of a certain height, where the height is the number of line of sights that you have, right? That's it,
Yes.
basically. That's
Yes.
nothing. Well, and the stack has to
And that you can
be
only
larger than the one that's already there, right? But
exactly. Exactly.
after that, it's over. It's just all strategy that comes out of these rules.
Right. And that's one of the other key things about abstracts, like why we're drawn to, well, at least why I'm drawn to abstracts, is because they have simple rules. So when a game puts a lot of emphasis on like the short-term complexity or like guys basically rules complexity, then I feel like it's not embodying the true essence of an abstract. That's why I'm really drawn to abstracts that have the simplest possible rule sets,
Mhm.
where they can like make something like a fun gameplay experiment or experience that's super deep at the same time be resulting from a tiny few
Yeah,
lines
yeah,
of
yeah.
information.
1 minute to learn, a lifetime to master, right? I love that people say that.
Exactly. I think Tumbleweed is
Uh,
one of, I mean, like the thing is, on many of these games on the Board Game Geek abstract general forum, they're like that. They're pretty short time to learn, and they technically would be very deep. I mean, basically all of them are beyond human
yeah,
mastery, um, and but there's something about an X factor, beyond just the simplicity of the rules, beyond just like the clarity of the gameplay, there and beyond just like the depth that, of course, every most of these games by default will probably have. Um, it's something about the funness, something that
yeah.
like really makes the game evocative, that makes it kind of speak to the player and invites the player into the world of the game. And this is the thing that I think Tumbleweed really shines.
There are a few factors. Uh, there was this famous essay, right, from maybe 20 years ago, where they talk about factors that make an abstract game fun. And one of the factors, apart from clarity and depth, was a drama, right? In a way.
Drama. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be too clear who's winning,
Right.
and there has to be always some way for the, not always, but in a lot of cases for the player who's losing, a way to turn around the table, or at least to make it more complicated than it seems.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it becomes too trivial.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about a really close game of Tumbleweed. Both players are going to feel like they're losing.
That's weird, but I think games with a scoring system, uh, they might
Yeah.
have this intrinsically. I don't know if it's true. Like rather than like in chess, there is one objective that is not. It doesn't matter how many points you have, right? While
Mhm.
for Tumbleweed, which is basically a territory game, can I call it like that?
Yeah.
Then you, like in Go, you need to count properly how many points you're gonna get at the end.
Yeah.
Uh, and I guess yeah, it's not that easy to count.
Right. So I guess in most of the online implementations we have like automatic score counting and this kind of this score this running score in some way is part of the game. I mean, you can tell if you're ahead on most implementations. Unless on
Hmm.
BGA you can turn off that and you can play on expert mode where you just where it doesn't even tell you what the score is. But like regarding like the intrinsic drama of scoring games, I do think
Hmm.
that the idea of a checkmate or the idea of a connection in hex is a extremely dramatic concept because you can feel like you're close to the one big goal and then lose everything. You know, it's like these
Hmm.
big swings in who will win because only one person will get checkmated, um,
Yeah.
or only one
So
person will connect.
so you say it's too dramatic, or it's not enough dramatic.
I'm no, I'm not saying that it's two. I think it's a great thing that that like these kind of uh, unified goals where it's not based on a score, but it's just based on whether you do the thing or not. These
Hmm.
binary goals
Okay.
can be very dramatic as well. That's all I'm saying. I think that there's
Hmm.
drama in both cases. Like it in the case of a scoring game, if one person gets super far ahead in the score, then the drama
Yeah.
is essentially over.
That's,
And you know, two players of unequal skill in Tumbleweed, it'll just be like that. I mean, one person is just gonna roll over the other.
but that I think happens for any kind of game in a way. Maybe in Tumbleweed or in Go, it's easier to see, like because you can actually see a lot of territory going away,
Right.
and it might be more subtle in other games. But I guess, or I don't know, or you think it's more forgiving for new players to learn. Like
Um,
the learning curve is not that steep.
think if you play,
By the
think
way, I'm gonna switch to this other way so people can see actually what Tumbleweed looks like.
oh yeah, good idea. Let me see.
There is a game, a board game arena going on. Um,
Right, right. Yeah, so
Sorry, I interrupt you.
no. About that, about the learning curve.
I don't know, to
Well,
be honest. I haven't thought about.
before I go into the learning curve, I just want to like finish the point about this the unified goal versus scoring goal. I do think
Hmm.
like um um both have both have their elements of drama. It's like you know, in a game that can only have a winner and a loser, at any given point in the game tree, there's one person who's winning given perfect play and one person who's losing given perfect play.
Mm.
So but in a game, but humans tend to have like this notion of like who's winning and who's losing, even when nobody really knows who the real winner is. In positions where it's like not known by the humans who's actually winning, like who's combinatorially game theory winning, you know.
Okay. So it's more clear, you say, in a way.
Um,
There's more clarity even in this. Like you know who's winning.
oh,
It's easier to
I'm
understand.
not like I'm not really trying to like I, I don't really not really trying to make a big comparison against like the score versus like unified goals
Hmm.
games. I'm just like I just think it's a really interesting way that humans trick themselves basically in when they're playing a game into thinking they're winning when they could be losing, this manifests in different ways depending on like what class of goal you're playing.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I
Um,
see.
you could
Yeah,
feel like you're very
makes
close to
sense.
a connection in hex, but then actually you're losing.
Hmm. Okay. I think it's related to clarity somehow, right? Like still, I don't know how.
This is
I
kind
know.
of like as long as humans can develop like this strong feeling about the position they're in, I think that's fine. Clarity is one thing, but that's what Nick Bentley, another guy who really inspired me when I was first getting
Oh
into
yeah.
abstracts. Nick Bentley made this article about instead of clarity, it should be replaced by speciousness. That the person um, who is playing should be able to make some judgment about the position they're in and maybe still be wrong about it.
Hmm. Okay, so,
I don't
which
know if I understood that correctly.
isn't the opposite of clarity in a way. it,
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right?
it's like how many false positive, like like how bad you can be at guessing a certain
Right.
position.
Related to that, like in Tumbleweed, there was this question about the neutral stack. So in the game of Tumbleweed, like the game begins with one neutral two stack in the center of the board,
Oh yeah,
and
I can show you here. You see here this
right,
green one in the middle.
you have it on stream. Yeah, exactly. And in this, and actually, you know, having this two stack, when a new player begins playing Tumbleweed, one thing that they often try to do is just try to immediately go after capturing the neutral stack.
Hmm.
You know, this is a stack that's just there. Nobody owns it. It doesn't contribute to any lines of sight, and somebody will eventually capture that stack in every game because there's 6 lines of sight in the center, right? And so there's only 2 players, meaning that at the end of the game, uh, each player would have like
Honestly, that's
uh,
something I would do it as well. No, maybe not immediately, but it's something I
oh yeah.
always look
I
for at
mean,
some
that's the
point.
first thing that I mean, it's like a big flaming target in the middle of the board, right?
Yeah,
And
but I don't know. I never got if it's actually a good thing or a bad thing.
that's the weird part. Nobody
The-
knows if it's actually good to capture the neutral,
Good.
but some people tried, and then other people thought, you know what, it's actually not worth it. But then when you got to study a little bit even more, you think, wait a minute, maybe it's actually a really good thing. And then you study even more, and you think, wait, you know what, spending all this effort to capture the neutral, maybe it's not even worth it. But then you study even more, and you're like, no,
Mhm.
actually, I need to capture the neutral. It just keeps on going. There was a meme about
Um,
this. It's like the big brain meme, but with capturing the neutral.
okay. I think there is always this kind of dual strategy, right? Going for the center or going for the edge, right?
Absolutely true. Yeah, in Tumbleweed, usually you have one guy who's kind of controlling all the edges, and one guy who's creating like a monster in the center.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's what I experience as well, even though I haven't played much. But I think it's in a different way from Go, right? Sorry if
Yeah,
I always compare to Go, but I think it's the like easiest for people who have never played, and I think it's
yeah.
also the most. I don't know if I have to pick a game that is close to Go, very similar to Go, but on a hexagonal board. I think Tumbleweed is the one of the
Yeah.
perfect candidates.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's other games which could also be considered pretty like a good hexagonal Go, but I do
Mm.
think that like a lot of people were trying to design a hexagonal Go. And I want to just say about Tumbleweed, Tumbleweed was never trying to be hexagonal Go. And the rules are nothing are nothing reminiscent of Go at all, but somehow the gameplay and the strategies involved
It
are very
feels.
similar. Yes, but the tactics are completely different. And one of the
Hmm.
reasons why is because in Go, groups need eyes, and also groups stay together. So if one group dies, if a group basically life and death is determined at the group level, whereas in Tumbleweed, life and death is only when a person captures a stack or doesn't capture the stack, and there are
Mm.
formations that are emergently happening at the
Mm.
group level, which causes a population of stacks to be alive. But it's not explicitly defined in the rules. So it's like even taking a step back from what is a group, and that's why in Tumbleweed you can have groups getting eaten away from the edges
Hmm.
because there are certain kind of configurations which are just not tenable that they can't support each other. And then yeah, so
I
that's
think
some of the differences.
the shape is an important concept, right?
Yeah, yeah, shape is
Because
really important.
somehow the shape also defines the height of the stacks. So how strong is your group in a way?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people were trying to play with triangles in the very beginning because on the hexagonal grid you kind of see how uh, uh, you kind of see how um, if you play in triangular forms,
Okay.
small little triangles, it will allow you to play higher stacks earlier in the opening. So because higher stacks are, I think we should probably just say for the audience that like higher stacks are safer because if you want to capture a stack, you must always play a bigger one. That you must always have more lines of sight and play a bigger
Hmm.
stack than the existing stack that you
Hmm.
want to play on top of. So in that sense, the bigger of a stack you have there, then the less chances an opponent has to
Yeah.
basically to capture it.
But
So like
I
a
feel
six stack is just invincible.
yeah, but I feel most of the time once you get a three height stack, that's enough to keep it as long as your shape is
Right, that's
uh,
the important factor. So like if you have a string of threes, then and the enemy curls around the string like this, it can just eat away like Pac-Man, the whole and get down to the whole string. So you
mhm,
have to be really careful. You have to create these kind of like um, soft blunt edges. So like these kind of
yeah,
120-degree
yeah.
angles for the
Hmm. Acute angle.
uh,
Oh no, sorry, opposite.
obtuse
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 angle.
angle for the three stacks. And for four stacks, then you can have it on 60-degree
Hmm.
angles, like
Uh,
like a
now that you think about that you talk about this, I remember that I watched a video on your channel, I think, right?
hmm?
About like was a sort of tutorial about life and
About
death
live. Yeah,
in Tumbleweed, right?
actually, yeah, and I was working a lot on that video, and also the original How to Play video with Polina Kameneva, which was also one of the first coworkers. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
she was my coworker, but she's also one of the first players of the game,
Uh-huh.
and she did so much for Tumbleweed, and she actually really you know in many ways made the board game arena implementation happen. I mean, the designs. She
Mm-hmm.
was the one who commissioned and also like helped design
Okay.
the pieces and the board for the board game arena graphics package that we use on VGA now.
Okay.
And yeah, so shout out to Polina, who was amazing.
Great.
Uh,
I
yeah,
think this is one
so
and another. Oh, okay, we'll talk about this later about the community
uh,
of Tumbleweed because I think
oh yeah, yeah,
it was
definitely,
pretty
definitely.
important in the development of the game. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
talking about life and death and your video.
I mean, we could. The thing is, like, about the strategies, we could go on for really long time about the strategy in Tumbleweed. But I guess I should try to like summarize this in a small, uh, some kind of thesis.
Yeah,
Saying,
I've got your book as well about tactics. I don't know if you want to, because I don't know how we can share. Is there a modular board where you can, like a
do you know
website?
about that this link? Hang on, Tumbleweed. Hang on, Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed.4tc.xyz. You know this one?
No, can you send it to me?
Atari's editor. So the best player or the world champion of Tumbleweed also created a online game editor that is really the most convenient way to just mess around with Tumbleweed positions online.
Okay,
Have you ever seen this one before?
okay, I'll
I
switch
just
to
sent you a
that.
link on Discord.
Okay, cool. He's here now. Sorry, I cannot share your screen, but you can guide me if you want to talk about.
Okay.
So this is the game. We
You
start
can also
with.
put on coordinates on the upper right. Maybe it'll be easier.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's another thing that I always find complicated, like to see the
And we can
coordinates on hexagonal boards.
Yeah, and we can also probably do a new empty board of a smaller size just for learning purposes.
Oh, even
Upper
smaller than.
left.
Okay, how small? 4.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, 4. Let's say 4.
Okay.
Okay, so in the first round, the first
Yeah.
player plays both a red and a white stack, right?
Yeah.
Right piece.
Yeah.
So let's say this and this.
Working?
Can you see it?
I there we go. Yeah, there we go.
There's a delay maybe.
Okay, okay. And then subsequently, so what you call the first player, I like to call the host. Host basically
Okay.
sets up the game, places the neutral 2 stack in the middle of the board, then places a red 1 stack and a white 1 stack.
Mm-hmm.
And these stacks, the different colors have very specific roles. So red will always go first. So you kind of want to put red at a rather disadvantaged position. And white will always play second. So you want to put white, in a little bit more advantageous position. Here,
Sure.
we just selected a really small board, so it doesn't really
Otherwise, if we
do it
played
justice.
a symmetric position, everyone will get red, right? Will pick red.
True. If you play a symmetric position, you can play. Sometimes you can even force a win as red from the beginning with a symmetric position. So nobody wants to really do that.
Okay. Can I go back in this? No.
You can press undo underneath.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So if I play something like this, that would be too good for red.
Let's go back to size 6, I guess, because it actually feels really unnatural to play on. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think
I see what you're saying.
Size 6 is fine, right? I guess this is too much for red. Then
all of a sudden, like, I just started to. Yeah, this is just. In theory, it should be winning for red, basically.
okay. So
There's no reason why white should win this position.
Yeah. First of all, it gets the central stack. But anyway, okay, let's go back.
You
Sorry.
can't really do anything about that, right?
Okay, so the thing is, this position that I play here, I played it automatically just because I see you guys playing it. So basically, the corner is less favorable than somewhere in the center, right? Because
and that just like is intrinsically, that just makes sense. So if you place, for instance, white on, if you place white on h7,
H7, okay.
that's basically the same. Yeah, that's analogous. Okay. If you do it like this is basically this is kind of a mirror image of what we would call the orthodox. And
What,
this position actually took a long time for us to reach
this way.
because what?
Is this the way they usually depict it?
Oh, I usually go A1 D5.
Okay, okay. I put,
Actually, a long time ago, I used to only play K11 H7, but then Atari started playing it, playing the openings in the upper left, and after that,
yeah.
I kind of admitted that it does make
Easier to
sense.
start from A1, yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense too. I
Okay.
was really hesitant and I was really annoyed at first that people wanted to
Mm.
change the convention, but then I was like, okay, well, this is actually a really good change of the convention.
Okay.
Because it was for me it was convention because I was playing K11 or like I was playing I9 for a really long time or J10. I was playing
Okay.
along that diagonal down to the bottom. But then all the notation was kind of weird. So
Yeah. Okay, so you call this
yeah,
orthodox, right?
yeah. So far, I mean, we just call it that, and it kind of stuck. People just started using this terminology, and um, this is not by far. This is nowhere near the only opening that gets played or anything. This is just like maybe the most well studied opening at this point.
Hmm.
There's a lot of valid openings, and there's also a lot of non like kind of demonstrably not good openings. For instance, if
Mm.
red is not touching the neutral, if red is not seeing the neutral, can you turn on the influence in the upper right?
Okay. So where would you
The
place red?
visualizations option. No,
Okay.
sorry. So like yeah, this one. Can you just go back to the orthodox just really quick so we can show you what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm. Okay.
At A1.
A1, D5.
So here you can see also White's score is already so this what's nice about this editor is it shows you it allows you to see what are the cells which are controlled by white and red and which are the cells which are contested by both players. It also
Mm.
shows you the running score. So right now, the running score for white
22.
is over double red's score. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is basically what we found to be the most advantageous position for white, and because we're trying to um, squash first player advantage, that's why we
Mm.
eventually reached this one because it seems like both players can reach
Okay.
a lot of even looking positions from here.
So it's not two advantages for white then.
No, I think I would play this. This is not the only one. Also, Stephen Tavener implemented Tumbleweed in AI. It
Hmm.
was also one of the it was a really nice thing for him to do that because um, just he decided to do that,
Hmm. Thanks,
and
Stephen.
we were very grateful. And what AI we found that actually this AI is a kind of a multi-game playing
Hmm.
robot that can just use Monte Carlo and whatever algorithm Stephen has figured out to play any game that has programmed
Hmm.
in there. So it's kind of automatically it's a general game playing engine.
And there are
And
lots of
we found
games.
out that it's probably the best computer right now.
Mm.
If you give it enough time to think, it probably would beat any other computer. And what AI suggests for a pi offer is A1 with white on E5, which we didn't even consider basically at all
White
for
on
about a
E5.
year. Yeah. if you just
Like
if you want
this.
to just show this one, white on e5, so you can show what
So,
it looks like.
so red a1 and white e5.
And we thought, for a long time, it was kind of a rule of thumb for people playing Tumbleweed, never place the pie offering where the two opening stacks can actually see each other. Because that means red can just immediately attack. If red just plays e1, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
try playing e1 for red now. You just click
Yeah,
on the
okay.
red.
Yeah, okay. And now white has to
Sorry, I
defend
realize
somehow.
it's like, yeah, exactly. Sorry, I keep on forgetting that like there's a bit of a delay. So if I
Sorry, yeah, maybe it's too much. I don't know.
say something that I you already did, just
That's fine.
that means
Um,
I just forgot.
and where white will
Yeah,
play
so
now? E3 or
actually,
C3?
there honestly, I don't know the answer, but white has many options. White can play e2, just like or b2, just like basically slap red in the face with a shield. Even
Okay.
though it's going to die eventually, white can kind of force red to be slow if red wants to capture that stone. There's also the option of uh, instead
R-
of b2, you can
running away.
play no, not running away. You can actually bolster your position. You can play e4,
Ah, okay.
and then let's say red tries to play h4 to like
Mm-hmm.
again threaten, put a second line of sight
E4.
on.
Okay.
So let's say red wants to, yeah, like h4. Then white can play d4. If
Okay.
white plays d4 and then if red captures e4,
Uh-huh.
then white can actually trap the captured stone. So white can play
Right.
f5
Okay, and then get back
to get it back. Yeah, so there's like
before.
some weird tricks in the opening that um,
Okay.
yeah, and this like we don't need to go into all the different
Yeah, I mean, now it gets more technical and complicated. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's not as easy as it seems.
yeah, there's a lot here. One of the cool things about Tumbleweed is it's a territorial game, like Go, but you have lines of sight controlling where you can play, like chess. So
Hmm.
it's kind of the fighting in Tumbleweed is kind of a mixture between chess and Go in that way. Because you have pieces building up their lines of sight on the enemy pieces, like in chess. The more
Hmm.
pieces you have looking at the enemy, the more likely
Hmm.
you are able to kill it.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
the reason why you have like these kind of lines of sight defense networks and attack networks, and that's
I,
really where it begins to look a little bit like chess, like
I
hand-to-hand combat.
I never thought about it in that way, actually. Interesting.
Yes, but,
Um,
but on the strategic level, it's very much, a territory game.
go like. Mhm. Yeah, or you would say, oh, I don't know, would you compare it with other territory games? Like, I see Amazons, for example, in a way
Yeah.
that there is the concept of line of sight as well. Although
Oh yeah.
it's pretty different. Um, but you sort
So
of shoot somewhere to create territory for you, let's say.
yeah. So Amazon's is a very, very intriguing design. And the reason is because Amazon's makes the concept of territory emergent.
Hmm.
So Amazon's doesn't care about territory in the rules. Um, there's actually
Yeah,
no mention of territory in the
yeah.
Amazon rule set. But what happens is um, the
Mentally, you
last
need the
player
territory. Yeah.
the last player to move wins. So if a player runs out of moves, they lose. And just the mechanism of the game with the queens moving across the board, shooting the blockades, and eventually the board divides into pieces, yeah, into sections,
Hmm.
and then your pieces are trapped in a section that may be bigger or smaller than the opponent's, and
Hmm.
this is your territory. It just
Yeah.
emergently happens. So actually, when Miha was inventing Tumbleweed, he was exactly thinking about Amazons and how amazing of a design Amazons is, in that it can take the notion of territory and make that emerge from a more fundamental rule set.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that, let me see if I can actually try to find the thread where he talks about it, because
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, go for it.
see if I
Uh,
can.
I just, yeah, I was just thinking that is a fitting comparison in a way. It might be inspired by Amazon's in a way. Um,
Yeah, it's absolutely inspired by Amazons. So let me see if I can. It might take
and
me a second
then
to find this on the forum, but I want to read a little bit.
I wanted to ask you something about the pi rule as well. Be
You can ask me
ready.
about it right now.
No, I was just thinking. I don't remember if we explained it right now, but basically the host decides where the first red and white pieces go, and then the guest, how do you call it, the second player?
Did I just totally like start explaining that and then skip
Yeah,
to
and
something
I
else
think
completely?
I
Oh my
think
God.
stream of consciousness we went somewhere else. Stream of
This is
thoughts.
really yeah, this is really the bane of my existence, is I will just start talking about something and then get sidetracked
It's
forever.
okay.
And then it'll
I
be like an endless chain of sidetracks.
honestly I
Okay,
like it.
so
I hope other people like it as well.
yeah,
So
I'm
go
having
on.
fun. So about the pi rule, do you have the board open on Twitch?
Oh wait, I close it. I'm gonna open it again.
Okay, so I mean, ultimately, the situation is quite simple. Uh, every game begins with this neutral two stack in the middle. That's kind of a given. Then you have the host, and the host sets up the game with a red stack and a white stack. And red will go first, so red needs to be placed in a bad position, and white will go second, so white needs to be placed in a good position. And then the guest, who's the second player, guest will choose at that time either to essentially
Take
accept white, accept the position of being white playing second, accepting, okay, like my positional advantage is good enough. Red is clearly screwed, way far off in the corner, and white, I have a dominating central position. Okay, I'm fine playing second. Or saying, you know what, it's not good enough. I'll take red and play first. So that's like the guest
yeah.
advantage. Every
Hmm.
player who's the guest technically has the win in Tumbleweed if you think about what's perfect play, you know. But since we're humans, we don't do perfect play. We never
Yeah,
play perfectly. So
definitely.
especially at the beginning of the game.
Hmm.
So that's why what this kind of guest advantage, this theoretical advantage of the second player, is offset by the host advantage, which is like they get to set up the pie and they can do this pie offer that leads
Mm.
to positions that they've studied very well.
I like it. Yeah, the spy is basically it's part of the opening study, right? It's like you have to study your favorite pie.
Exactly.
Right.
You study your favorite pie, but you have to know how to play both sides from that pie. Because
Hmm.
if they
You have to
choose
be
red or
ready.
if they choose white, you have to be
Yeah.
ready and you have to steer the position into your. So, like, I'm comfortable playing this particular pie as red or white. Um,
But there are others that
personally,
maybe not.
I personally it's really fun playing white with this pie. Um, but um,
Okay.
but yeah,
But
and if you don't know what the right thing to do is and you're the guest,
mhm.
swap. Just play red because usually um, red can red can be pretty safe. So since the
Okay.
second player has the chance to play first, if it's unclear, then usually playing first is at least safe.
But can I ask you something? So has the Pyrrole always been there? I don't know if you know you talk with Michal uh, Zapala. What how do you pronounce it? I mispronounce it completely.
Miha is a power.
Zapala. Okay. I don't know if you talked to him about this. Like, when you design a game, I suppose, as we said, we want to keep it as simple as possible. And I guess the pie rule is I don't know, something that makes it a bit less elegant in a way, or not.
I
What do you
personally,
think?
yeah. So there are some people who have a lot against the pie rule, and you know what? To be honest, I think your bang for your buck is very good with the pie rule most games. I
Hmm.
really am a big proponent of the pie rule because it's just a very quick and dirty, like get her done balancing mechanism that will basically always work. And then after that, you start the game. So it's not even really part of the game. It's like you're
Hmm.
setting up the game. People are deciding what to do, and then boom, start.
So you say it
In the games
fixes
like
most of the
Hex,
games. You can
yeah,
fix it, not
exactly.
fix it, but like make better most of the games. You say.
Yeah, I think so. In games like Go, people have sometimes considered doing some, on the fringe. People have looked at this, but I would never play the pie rule in a game like Go. But in Tumbleweed, it makes perfect sense. Um, and in connection games, it's kind of the standard.
But if you try to play it without pie rule, what happens? It's actually too big, the advantage for red. Like, what red would play if there wasn't pie rule?
Red would play in the
Like,
center.
something here, like the best. And then white should play in the center as well, somewhere else, right?
Yeah, right. What? Right, and then
I
basically,
don't know
then
here, but well, I don't know
the
where.
difference here, right? Here's actually, oh, this is very bad for white. Okay, this is looks good. Sorry, we're maybe delayed a bit, but um, yeah. So one of the things I want to point out about this is that Tumbleweed always needs a special setup phase, no matter what, because every move is placed in line of sight of an existing piece. So right now, what you would be doing is the board would be empty, and without a setup phase, there'd be no way to play any stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So automatically, the Pi rule both serves as an opening protocol, which kind of kicks the game off so that people can actually begin playing, and
Mm-hmm.
as a balancing mechanism at
Okay.
the same time.
So I kind of fix the only problem that the rules have, which is you have to play something if it's in light of sight always. You can't. I was just thinking, can you actually lose all your stones? I mean, it's pretty hard, but can you
Yeah, you
actually
can.
lose without like having no moves, basically?
Yeah, I was thinking.
I don't, I don't know
I'm pretty sure.
how
I
hard it
actually
is.
don't know if you can. No, I think you can. Let's see. I remember Atari was talking about this on Discord a while ago. Oh no, you don't start like that. So play white on a.
Oh,
So yeah, play like red on B2
okay.
and white on A1, I think. No,
A1.
but it's still not.
You mean?
Yeah, something like if white
But
plays on if
you
white
can
is forced to
always
play on. Yeah, it's
sort
not
of
exactly.
escape.
Yeah, I think if you have the neutral blocking, if you have a free neutral, then you can.
Okay. But anyway, sorry, that was just
It's kind of a
a
mathematical
silly.
curiosity.
Yeah.
But no,
And
there's people there. Yeah, like there was some Go players like Atari and Shinuito, and some other people who were and Pina who were talking about these kind of
mhm.
uh, yeah
Because the other question is, sorry if I just they just come to my mind now.
yeah.
Is the neutral necessary as well? Can you play without a neutral at all? And play just with a pi rule, of course, but without a neutral. Does it make very different or very much worse?
So the thing about the what the neutral does. Actually, the history of the neutral, it was kind of decided in a whim. It was kind of like
Was in a
Miha had this
in a
idea.
dream.
Yeah, well, like Miha and I were playing the basic Tumbleweed with no Pyrule and no neutral from the very beginning on size 11.
Okay.
And that was like the first time, like the first times we played it. I think we played on size 11 and size 8, and we were like, okay, this game is crazy, and we were getting like huge analysis paralysis, and I was kicking his ass, and I was loving it. I was just like, oh my god, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, this game is crazy. And then we started thinking about the first player advantage, and we are like,
Maybe
yeah,
it's a bit
it's
too
not going to be
much.
competitive it's not going to be competitive if we don't do something about this. So, and one of the thoughts that Mihal had was that that people would just always play in the center if they had the chance. So his idea was to just block the center off with a neutral, and
Mm.
he wanted to make sure that the neutral would always get captured, which is why it's only a 2 stack, because eventually 3 lines of sight will build up on there.
Hmm. So if it was 3, then it wouldn't be. Oh, I guess you froze. I'm not sure what happened. Oops. Okay. I think Alek connection just stopped, so I'll wait for him to come back. It's actually pretty interesting talking about the neutral and everything. Let's see if he can come back. He said he's got another like he can connect by phone. Let's see now. Yeah, I like very much this game. I haven't played enough, but on BGA I'm playing more and more, and I really like there is this Go feeling. Um, okay, wait a second. Is coming soon. Okay, wait a second. I should be able to get you back. Okay.
Oh, was it you or me?
No, it's okay. Can you hear me? It's all fine.
Okay, so okay, I'll stop this call.
Oh, no. Wait. What happened? No, it was fine. It was fine. It's a. Ah, okay. It was fine as it was before as well, as you prefer.
I do it from my computer because the alternative was from the phone, but it's kind of weird to like do the whole thing.
Okay. Okay, cool. You okay? Your connection is back.
So my connection like went out for a little bit. Is that what happened?
Yeah. At least you froze, and then I lost your call. So, okay. Anyway.
Okay, so at what? So we were talking about the neutral and the neutral 2 stack and the pi rule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was saying.
basically, it was this thing that like the center was too strong, and like you know what? I don't know if it's necessary, but I do know that if the neutral wasn't there, the pi rule would be much more difficult to create this positional advantage for white on the first using the pi rule. So the neutral kind of interacts with the pi rule in a very lucky way. We're super lucky that it works this way, and
Okay.
and this is kind of these are the two things which people who are game designers complained about in terms of the elegance of Tumbleweed. Christian Freeling saying that it is unnecessary and there must be some way around it, and Louis, one of the
Bolañero.
designers in
Yeah.
Bolaños Mures, he also was coming up with maybe 10 or 20 different variants of Tumbleweed to try to eliminate these issues, like no
Okay.
setup phase. But ultimately, the gameplay in Tumbleweed, it speaks for itself. And I do think that the pi rule at the beginning and the existence of one neutral stack in the middle of the board, they're not really. I don't think they really affect the elegance of Tumbleweed as a whole. It's a little bit like Wabi Sabi, you know.
No. I think I agree. I think just it's good that the rules are as simple as possible, but sometimes if you need to tweak it a bit and add just a little element that makes it better, why not? Like, and I don't see if you went. Honestly, I found it a bit more inelegant if you place the neutral wherever you want. Then I feel it becomes. I mean, it's still fine, but it becomes more complicated. Like all the opening theory, it becomes a lot more complicated, and I think there's no need for now. Maybe if it gets solved at some point, or I don't know, it's too easy or whatever, then you can think about it.
I mean, we built in that feature to the Board Game Arena implementation. By the way, thanks to UFM, the developer for that, who went through a lot of, he sat through all of our exhausting input, like, please, can we do this? Do we do that? Blah, 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 blah. And now finally we have
they did
implementation. And and that was one of the features that we wanted because I really wanted it because I wanted it to be such that Tumbleweed could be infinitely deep, so that even like so that no matter how far into human history we go, we'll never run out of
ideas. Okay.
Yeah, and so
that's a good way to see a game. I like this idea.
I mean, it's just like future proofing it. So the standard original setup will be good for my lifetime, and it will be good for many lifetimes. But still, you never know what happens 1,000 years from now.
Your children and the children of your children will play still Tumbleweed.
I really hope so. You know, we kind of had like a big rise in the community, and we also have seen many dips. It's been very up and down. It's been a huge roller coaster. So, and it's I never know what's going to happen next with Tumbleweed.
Yeah. So my next question was actually about the community, because that thing that struck me was that in just 2 years you managed to put Tumbleweed on different platforms, write 2 books that are free, available for everyone. And they've been played at the Mind Sports Olympiad. You had your own tournament, right? Championship, and all this. And like, I think the number of people, like if you just talk about numbers, it's not crazy, right? But still, if there are 3, 4, 5, 10 people that are very passionate about it, they can make magic, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I encourage all game designers who actually care about abstracts and who care to have their games, be played at all, to try to reach out in every possible way to the world, to actively build a group of people, because it really starts very locally, and I mean I can tell you that the beginning of Tumbleweed was just me and Miha, and of course it was his game, and he just wanted somebody to play test it with, and I was willing to do that for him, because he also was willing to play test some of my games with me. At first it was like a very transactional, like designers kind of helping each other experience. And then we started doing a lot of video calls, and we got a lot closer by just having these like long game testing sessions. And so, this kind of a very initial nucleation is where Tumbleweed started. And I was posting on Board Game Geek forum about it, and really a lot of people were just ignoring it at first, because there's a lot of noise. A lot of designers have a lot of new ideas, and you never know which ones are actually going to take off and which ones are just going to languish in obscurity forever. And of course, most of them don't get played at all. And so, I was I was really trying to get people to play a lot. Guys, like this is such a good game, everything, and that was part of it. And then I think
What was
next person,
the point, the flash
yeah,
point?
I think the very next thing was that I was actually just excited about it. So to the point where I was on a train with some friends of mine from work,
Okay.
including Polina, who played a lot, and essentially she didn't know about the game yet, and we were just on this long train to I think it was Gothenburg, Sweden, and we just didn't really have much to do, so I took out the portable game set from Nestor Games for
Ah,
Bide, which is one of my designs, but I use it as like his kind of amorphous kit to
yeah, you
play
can use
any
it for
abstract.
anything.
Right, because it's a
What is
stacking
for?
game.
What is actually designed for? What game?
Bide. Bide is
Bide.
one of my games, and I remember Miha was so nice about Bide. He really had a joyous experience playing Bide, and it was really validating for me as a designer because I was like, oh, I didn't really think that anyone would have that much fun playing my game. Like I never was having the experience of somebody coming up to me and being like, hey, let's play your game, and that was like really
Yeah,
nice
that
to
must be
hear.
very
So
satisfying, fulfilling.
yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, so then we started playing Tumbleweed on the Bide set in the train, and Paulina she was astounded. She was like, "Wow, this game is like this is." She actually, I think, even used the word elegant, which I thought was really interesting because she isn't really like in the board game design community. She was just like
Hmm.
thought of it. She didn't play Go. She didn't really play chess. I think in when she was in school, she played a lot of checkers and Halma because like where she grew up, that's what they were that's
Playing.
what they were playing. So
I think
and so we
sometimes
started with this.
it's ourselves, we have some biases and we think that other people wouldn't enjoy it, but then if you just trial and error, just go around and just try once, then you
Right.
find
Well,
someone.
I think one person being really enthusiastic about a game. First of all, the game has to be good. Then you have to have a person who's enthusiastic about it, who's like actually actively getting people to play in real life. Real life. Firstly, I think that's important. And you reach out to your friends, and it's very also important that I was not the designer of Tumbleweed. I didn't think of this game, so it in no way reflected on my, like
Yeah.
myself, whether people liked it or not. It was just me like having this
Hmm.
message to the world, and it really reflects on Miha, on his brilliance,
You didn't
that
take
he
it
was able to come up.
personally in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Just a
So
profit.
because right. So when people are designers and they are they're promoting their own game, people can get turned off by that a little
Hmm.
bit. So it's very dangerous territory between sounding like self-congratulatory versus just like being somebody who's legitimately excited about some ideas and thinks it's
So
really fun and wants to
the
play.
message is always be nice to a game designer with showing you their game. No, I'm
You know
kidding.
what? I don't know because like it feels like a lot of luck happened in the case of Tumbleweed. Like I don't think that I will ever be able to repeat what happened and it really felt like
Life is not
a
abstract, right? You need some luck in life as well.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Because in Tumbleweed, so many things happen just by chance. So we were we were reaching out to more people. Like there's a couple people who will just play games with me if I want them to try something out. And there were a couple people, friends at work or some friends that from back at home or my brother. He is usually willing to try a game out if I assure him that it's like really good. Yeah, and so it just so happened that all the people, like most of the people that I reached out to this time were just enough into it that everyone was willing to start a tournament. So we started like an 8-person tournament, and this was key. And actually, none of this could have happened without Ludii. So I have to give a big shout out to Cameron Brown, who did the Ludii game engine, because we didn't have AI yet. We didn't have IG Game Center. BGA wasn't even light years away. But it wasn't on Mind Sports at the time. So the first thing that ever did was me and Michael Amundsen.
So it was not even on IGGC? No, it wasn't there.
Not at first. No, the first tournament was basically played on Ludii.
Okay.
And so actually Ludii does support online play, and I think it's got even better nowadays. But yeah, that was originally what we did.
Actually, I never played online. I wasn't sure if it was possible. But yeah, it is.
Yeah, so if you have people who are actually interested to play, then you just start a table, they join, just like IG Game Center. But it's just a bit weird because they have to put in your password every time, so it's like annoying. But other than that, it's cool because you have a lot of games to choose from, and if if you want to, yeah. So Michael Amundsen, I'm pretty sure it was him, and me were really the people who programmed Tumbleweed for Ludii. So I also have to thank Michael. If it really was him, I'm pretty sure it was him though. And
what do you mean? It was him in
the? Yeah, it was Michael Amundsen. Yeah. He wrote the script for Tumbleweed in Ludii, because Ludii is like kind of it's not difficult programming language if you're really already good at computers. But for someone like me, I'm not super good at computers, so it took me hours and hours to just program my own games, like Trike. I programmed. That was one of the first games on Ludii, by the way, was Trike, and I was really proud of that. I was able to basically program almost all the way myself. And
Ludii, can you explain what it is for those who don't know?
So Ludii,
it's
very
a
much
platform.
like Savener's AI is like a platform. It's like a general game playing engine, and what they're doing is they're trying to do research in discovery into the history of board games throughout human history.
But you can code your own games, right? In a way.
Yeah, you can code any game, and it's very good for sandboxing. So you can like code up a rule set as long as it's simple enough, because they have all these called Ludii. So Cameron Brown, I think, had this idea that there should be a very natural language description of a game that could be, kind of algorithmified, if I can bastardize the term.
Every mechanic, every single rule is a Ludii, right?
It's a Ludii, yeah, exactly. And so
analogous to gene or meme, sort of, right?
That's exactly true. Yeah. So if you're, for instance, the game of Hex, it's like size, board, hex, or diamond shape, or like if it's a whatever, and then
goal.
Like player, goal, connect, up, down, left, right, blah blah blah. Like this is.
And then you have your game.
And then player, yeah, it's like play, player, place, stone, next, whatever.
But you don't need to know
like that.
You don't need to know hardcore coding, right? You can use this language that is created by Ludii.
It helps if you are. Some people just have the honestly, some people just have the brain for it, because like I thought I could do it, and part of it is that they're adding on to it all the time. So certain things I was trying to do, there literally just wasn't the feature yet. So I got really frustrated sometimes, and I couldn't like program some of the games I wanted to program. But Michael Amundsen he like soaks this information up like a sponge, and there's like a 400-page manual of different commands that you can search in the Ludii manual, and like so it's all there.
Cool.
But yeah.
So you played a tournament there, and then since then it became
played a
bigger and
tournament.
bigger.
So some designers like Dale Walton, some game player like Chris Manatee, who's like a pretty big tag player. Polina, me, Nick. Nick was one of my friends from back home. He was like a researcher. Miha, of course. Probably forgetting somebody, but we had 8 people in the tournament, and
I know Pina.
No, Pina didn't play in the first tournament. He
I
joined
wasn't there.
like as it was
Okay.
already ongoing,
Okay.
and Pina was like
he introduced me to Tumbleweed, I think.
Yeah,
Because
Pina
I
mean, Pina's
knew
great.
him.
And Pina, actually, he was the first person. Pina was the first person to start streaming for Tumbleweed. So he had the idea to stream in the first place, which I was like, oh my god, that's brilliant. And then I started doing it myself, and I started doing it a lot more than him. I think he still does like a lot of streaming with Go, but he used to stream Tumbleweed, and that was amazing. And then he was he suggested that we could do a Discord, which, because at some point we were basically just all of us in a Facebook Messenger group, and the group is still present, but it's just like the original couple people who were playing in Tumbleweed. But the group grew a lot, but like it's still just like it's just weird to have a group chat because most people just turn it off.
Discord helps so much.
Oh yeah.
It's so much easier to discuss and
and the idea of having threads, because we would get into arguments on the Facebook Messenger about like what to do about something, and it would be so difficult to keep track of what's going on, and we have multiple things going on at once. Is a huge mess. Discord's amazing. So
the Discord
even though
is
I know
designed for that. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh, it's designed for that. Yeah, for sure. And also another thing about Discord is that you can always invite people. You can link everyone back to the Discord. So Discord is like our home page. It's our hub at this point. Yeah, and so at a certain point, we got so lucky again, because people were having fun playing these tournament games. You know, Polina was discovering the pressure, like time pressure, and playing tournaments and stuff.
Competitive play.
Yeah, Hootie was getting into my brother was getting into Tumbleweed. Nick, Pina was like one of the first players who came from outside after there had been already a core group of people playing for like a month or two, and he was like, whoa, this game's crazy. Started playing a lot. We had one voice video call where he started he was playing. It was his. Sorry.
I remember he was really enthusiastic.
Yeah, it was his first game, one of his first or second games, and we were playing on I think we were playing on Ludii, and he started working out all of the moves out loud. He was like, so if I go there, then you're gonna do that, and I don't think I can do that. Wait a minute, no, I have to do that, and he was going through the whole thought process, and I was sitting there fuck, this guy's gonna be good. I can tell. This is a little crazy. And I started and at first I was helping him out a lot, and I was like, yeah, no, you don't want to do that. And then at a certain point I was like, I can't tell him that he's going down the wrong path right now. I have to win now. I can't be helpful anymore. So there was immediately a huge rivalry, and it became really fun. So yeah, after that, we got really lucky because Artem, I don't remember it, I can't really say his last name, but Artie Sandler, basically, from IG Game Center, was at this point, a lot of us, we were reaching out everywhere we could to tell people about this game on the different websites that we knew about, and I was telling people about it on the Abstract Nation, and there was also combinatorial game theory, and Mind Sports, like all these Facebook groups that are just about
Yeah.
abstract. And
2 or
you know,
3.
and actually one of yeah, and so it was just really a matter of luck. So because I started playing on IG Game Center, and I just messaged Artie because I already had an account from a while back from some other reason, and I just messaged Artie like because I knew that Luis Bolaños Mures, he was able to somehow add some games to IG Game Center himself of his own design, and I was like, wait a minute, because I remember I think I tried to get him Artie to implement like, or I asked like if he was adding new games because I was going to ask him about some older game of mine, and I remember him saying like, no, we don't do that. Like I've retired. I stopped maintaining the site in 2014. You know, I don't do this anymore. You know, it's like the CIA agent that's like out of the game, and I felt like the captain, whatever, that's like trying to get him back. We like brought this guy out of retirement on accident because what happened was there was some like really random like computer thing. Like he wanted to upgrade his computer anyway because it was old, and somehow like he just like was taking some. It was a really random situation that caused him to just be like, you know what, you know, maybe I do want to get back into programming a little bit. So at that very moment, I was like, okay, Artie, I know somebody is adding new games to IG Game Center, and I heard that basically designers, if they know how to program, they can program their own games, and they can, you know, they can do it. So what I'm proposing to do is, if you tell me like what games I can use as a template and send me the scripts that you already wrote for other games that could be similar to Tumbleweed, then I could try to like learn the language and try to like get someone who maybe knows it. Like we could contribute the coding for it. And you know what happens with Artie? It's like it's like a cat. You know, you don't want to just like, hey Artie, program my game. He'll run away. But if you but in this situation, if it was just the right moment, he's just like curious enough. He's like, but what is this game? So then we start playing it, and he's like, oh, okay, interesting. We played on, and he starts getting into it, and he's like, you know what? This would not be like, I could probably program this in like a weekend, and he just does it.
So we got back into it.
Yeah, it was very lucky. At that point, we had, you know, we continued the tournament on IG Game Center, and we were playing on and it was crazy because we could track the statistics of people playing, and it just kept growing. And so I started posting on any random forum I could find, like Go forums, chess.com, Lead Chess, Life in 19 by 19. Everywhere, and you know, just basically saying like, posting this kind of clickbait title like, this game weirdly reminds me of Go. And that was enough for people to be like, huh? They click on it, and I'm like, you know, this is a game that we can play on IG Game Center, and we got some people to, you know, react to the threads. A lot of Go players.
Maybe 1 in 100 gets interest, or more probably.
So we already had this group of people who were in the first tournament, plus we had Pena, plus we had some people like randomly coming in from these Go communities or like other communities, and we made this advertisement for a tournament that would have cash prizes, like a random cash prize.
I remember. I thought about playing as well.
Yeah, and Paulina helped design the thing and the flyer. She like designed the flyer actually. And
it was pretty good.
I put up the money for the prizes because for me it was worth it just to like have something that makes it feel official, so that people would, because actually people don't really care about the money. It's a feeling of officiality, like, oh, I could get a prize, like that automatically makes it more like a thing. So, and we put this flyer up everywhere, and we had a pretty big tournament, like 20 people. And it was it was just one of these tournaments like the previous one, where people just arrange the at their own time the games with the opponent, and they just report. They play it all in IGGC, and you know, with these specific parameters, size 8, like 30 minutes, 30 seconds per move, or 45, something like that. I
Yeah.
forgot. And
Yeah,
this was
that's
when
really
the Go
attracted
players
a
came
few
in.
more people, and then they will
This
start
was when
to
the Go
attract
players.
other people and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
So right, because the Go community, like once they started playing, that just changed everything. I mean, they started like saying, wait a minute, we can do Sumego, like we can do life and death puzzles. We can
Exactly.
we can start analyzing this game like it was Go, as if it were Go, and that's what people started doing. Like Atari was, you know,
I find it weird that people, sorry, I find weird that people have to find another game to compare to, otherwise they wouldn't. I like to make it better, to make it more official. They have to think, oh, this is like Go. I mean, it's the same thing I thought when I found out about Ive. My comparison was, okay, it has the potential to be like that. I mean, it's weird what tricks people's mind.
Right, but I mean, it has to be different enough so that it stands on its own. Because I mean,
Oh yeah, it can't be just a variant or something.
Right, so that's essential, and I think that like a lot of the Go players realized that the ones that got into it, realized that this was not just a Go variant. That Atari actually explained to me why he was into it, specifically because of like just the extremely elegant rule set with the with the main thing. Yeah.
Okay. Whoa. We have been talking for an hour and a half, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if there. I mean, there might be something else we could talk about. But I don't know. Do you feel you want to say something else? I think we touched a bit all the points that we mentioned before starting the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, once the weird thing about it is like now, it's very difficult for me to understand where the community is at this point. Like what is the future for Tumbleweed? Because we had these waves of activity, and we had the biggest wave around the time of the first Mind Sports Olympiad. And we had a lot of people playing that were coming in that basically they just wanted to get a trophy at the Mind Sports, and they didn't really know they didn't know about this game from previous things.
By the way, there is a tournament this year as well, right?
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the 20. When is it?
The 21st of May. Let me see if that's true.
Okay. I think that's another chance to boost the community again, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember when exactly it is. The schedule is here. Let's see if I can.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's the 21st of May, Saturday.
If you're interested, follow the Discord. I'm gonna put a link to the Discord group as well.
The Mind Sports Olympiad Discord.
I know, also for Tumbleweed, so that people that are interested, they might jump in.
Yeah. But it was really interesting to see like the Go players, be like this next wave of people, and they immediately rose to the top, like Tybalt and Atari, and then after that there was another wave of people who were playing for the Mind Sports Olympiad, and then they rose to the top, like Florian Germain, Komachin, these guys were, and Testing QWERTY, which basically Testing QWERTY and Atari then started like analyzing openings, and that led us into the.
It's interesting how you can be a strong player with different backgrounds, right? Different.
Yeah.
Like someone because they have a goal-like mind, some others because they just enjoy that kind of games anyway. I mean, they have different ideas, but they still can take you to understanding the game deeply.
Yeah, Testing QWERTY is like he's an Amazon's player mainly.
Oh, okay.
And I would say that probably he's now like one of the best, if not the best player, which it'll be really interesting to see if we are able to do some kind of championship this year. See how, because Atari basically what we did the MSO. My brother won the MSO on Size 6, and then we went into a qualifier for the World Championship, and then we went into the World Championship, which basically like was this thing that was happening at the same time as I was finishing up this book with Testing QWERTY and a couple other people for the opening theory, and that was a little bit before we'd already made the puzzles and all these articles coming out in Abstract Games magazine. So everything was like coming to a head, and then Atari won the championship, and then after that, and then the book came out like in the winter, and then after that, basically, like the activity on IG Game Center has dropped significantly. If you look at the statistics, like boom, like the number of games on, but at the same time, the board game arena implementation has come out, so a lot of people are playing on there, which I don't really keep track of the statistics there. And at any given moment, there's like 30 games being played on BGA.
BGA is pretty good for that. Like, even if maybe the implementation is not the best, but still, there's a high chance that someone who's not interested at all in that kind of game or is just doing something else, it bumps into that game, and it's easy enough, the interface to just say, why not, let's try it, and then some people get hooked.
Right. So that's why I think it's like there's this little stumble upon potential there.
Is there a championship? Oh, sorry. Go on.
I'm just gonna talk about what you were just gonna bring up about this championship. Do you mean this MSO?
Yeah, no. Is there a championship plan for this year? No, just for Tumbleweed.
Okay. Actually, to be honest, I don't know what the plan is. So there should be a championship, and Miha needs to figure this out, how it's going to go. He kind of wants to, he wanted to do it similar as,
like every 2 years.
I don't really understand what he wanted. I could try to pull up the thread where he talks about the different options, but I felt like he created a false dichotomy with his options, because he was like, we could do it every 2 years, or and have like a candidates tournament with a match, or we could do it like just like a regular round robin tournament. And what I think would be really interesting is if we have a round robin candidates tournament, and then the winner of that tournament gets to do a match with the previous champion, because that sounds dramatic as hell. Like, you have all these people like fighting each other in an arena, and then one comes out the winner, but then they have to face the big boss. You know, like a video game.
Yeah, isn't that too dramatic? I think I don't know. I think like for games that already have a good fan base, maybe it's fine. But for games that are trying to emerge yet, maybe it's better to include as many people as possible. And I don't know.
No, I'd like to hear your opinion, because I mean, obviously we don't know what to do this year.
Anyway, play Tumbleweed. You play Tumbleweed. I don't know what else. Well, I think it's enough. It was amazing chat. It was stuff very interesting. Everything that came out, your point of view on many things, was enlightening. And I think it was very cool. We should do it more often, I think. Talking about board game design in general.
Super to talk about that stuff.
I should talk with Mikael Zapao as well at some point, if he's up for a chat like this.
No, he would be a great guest.
Do you wanna say something else? Otherwise, we'll call it for today.
Yeah, I don't really have. I can't really remember anything. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff, but I don't want to I also don't want to keep you too long, because I feel like you're like slowly wearing down here.
A bit, but no, I think it's just I mean, it was super interesting, but it's an hour and a half now. We'll do it again for sure. And I'm gonna upload it on YouTube as well. I'm gonna add some links as well in the description in case. Oh, by the way, Testing QWERTY was here in the chat on Twitch.
Oh, I didn't even see the chat.
Anyway, thanks again very much for this.
Yeah, thanks for having this idea to talk on stream. Like, I've been listening to a lot of streams for other things, you know, like people gaming and political discussions and.
I think it's quite. I don't know. I like to listen to this kind of things, even if you know, it's something niche that I don't really understand. But I like that kind of format, people chatting, and I don't even need to like really watch the screen. Well, unless we're talking about some specific position. But most of the chat was very free, and you can listen to it and do something else. And yeah,
I think we could. I would definitely like to stream, do the same kind of thing on my channel too.
Cool.
Thank you.
By the way, yeah, you have a channel, just for people remember. Yeah, and you upload sometimes video on Tumbleweed, right?
Right, and I mean, basically, I don't want to get pigeonholed into doing stuff on Tumbleweed. It just has been the thing that I've been uploading the most. But when new games come along and I feel like I care about them, then I will definitely promote them too.
Cool. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, see you. It's been great talking.
Thanks again.